me say yes to this retreat was I've been working through a lot of self-repair and self-healing over the course of about the last year. And I, I had found David on Instagram, and my wife had also found David on Instagram shortly after me, before I'd even said anything. And he posted that he was doing a retreat, and I'm like, well, I've never done a men's retreat. I've done a lot of coaching. I've done a lot of conferences, a lot of stuff that way. And I had lost a sense of community going through a little bit of a business deal that I'm going through, and that also involves my family, that created a pretty decent rift in my family with my parents. So I lost that sense of community with that coaching group for a little while with what I had gone through. And with that, I just needed to be able to talk to some other men and to be able to break down with them. And, my situation is probably a little different than what David normally deals with. I don't have a spouse issue. Like, my wife and I are very solid, and through all of this have actually grown even tighter and closer together. So with that, my situation is more with my family and with my business and stuff, but I still felt the call, based on David's videos and everything else, to try to do something with this and to come to this and maybe even be able to use my story with my wife to be able to help others while at this retreat too. The 6 weeks of calls were, I think, almost as important as the retreat. You get to know the other people on the call. You get to understand maybe some of their story, to where when you get to the retreat, it's not like, whoa, like I knew bits and pieces of each person's story. So as I heard their story even further and deeper at the retreat, I was able to piece together what I learned on those 6 weeks of calls. The other thing with the 6 weeks of calls is that helped me a lot. I mean, David literally said people pleasing is fear, and that fucked me up for probably 2 weeks. So, like, I'm asking my therapist, I'm asking mentors, like, what does this mean? Like, break this down for me further. And that really hit hard for me. I was able to mine for nuggets in those calls, while I was able to mine for nuggets at the retreat. And I think I got as many nuggets from the calls as I did from the retreat. It was interesting. When I showed up, first person I talked to was Dion, the chef. And we're both sweating in the garage when we walked in. And then I think I met you. And then Josh Levin was here and everything. So it was, for me, it wasn't hard to open up. Like, I felt like if I'm going to do this, like, I need to be open and I need to share everything and not withhold anything. Like, I felt that was very important. And I felt like at the beginning of the retreat, some of the men at times were still closed off. So I felt called to take the lead and just totally open up on the first evening that we had. We were on the rooftop and stuff, and I got really vulnerable and opened up. And then I think that helped others to open up that way. All the guys are cool. Everything was awesome that way. And just a good group of guys. Probably the last morning, this morning. So standing on the beach, knowing that it's over. That was probably, I think I probably cried maybe 4 times over the weekend. And that was the last time. Because it's like, all right, now I got to go back and I got to do it. So there's a sense of learning it and understanding it and everything else. And then there's a sense of reality that hits when in 4 hours or 6 hours, I got to implement it and I got to do something with it. I think for me, probably 25% of it was the mentality side of things. And one of the things that I really wanted to get out of this was pushing myself physically, because I haven't done that for a long period of time. And so I think I got a lot of physicality out of it, and how to get back into fitness and exercising and some of that type of stuff. So, I think the calls leading up really worked on my mind to get my mind in a better place even before I got to the retreat. And then I think the retreat kind of finished my mind as far as that goes and started my body. And now the last 25% of my body is up to me to do when I get home. A lot. I mean, I self reflected more on these 3 days than I ever probably have in my entire life combined. Um, it allowed me to have the space to get grounded in who I am and probably rediscover that and really understand what that means. To having created the mission statement to begin with, the personal mission statement, and then to creating the vows, and then to really, I've always had a why, but really polishing that why. This retreat forced me to do that. So when I think of that, that helped me mentally as a man. It also helps me involve my faith in that. And then, really understanding, how your body fits into that and everything that way too is greatly important. And that's something I've neglected for a while too. So.